Yo, what it is, YouTube? It's the boy Nitsa coming back with another bullseye of a tutorial here today. I want to talk about something that is very critical right now in the hip-hop game, something that can make or break your music. I want to talk about why are ad-libs so important in the modern rap game. So I have a song today that I want to play, and I want to talk about a couple things, and not necessarily about the mixing, but like what's the psychology behind why people love ad-libs and what you can do to enhance it. So I don't want to waste any time. Let's jump into it right away and let's just listen to the music, right? And hear what it sounded like with and without the ad-libs. Okay, let's play it.
Potato, potato, tomato, tomato, Javinci, Givenchy, for Kai pronounce. Potato, potato, tomato, tomato, Javinci, Givenchy, for Kai pronounce. I'm staying in silence, no need to announce it. I pay what I weigh and increase with them ounce. Yeah, part of my French, but it's how I pronounce it. Yeah, part of my French, but it's how I pronounce it. Potato, potato, tomato, tomato, Javinci, Givenchy, for Kai pronounce. Potato, potato, tomato, tomato, Javinci, Givenchy, for Kai pronounce. I'm staying in silence.
All right, let's go ahead and play it back without the ad-libs, right? To start off today.
Potato, potato, tomato, tomato, Javinci, Givenchy, for Kai pronounce. Potato, potato, tomato, tomato, Javinci, Givenchy, for Kai pronounce. I'm staying in silence, no need to announce it. I pay what I weigh and increase with them ounce. Yeah, part of my French, but it's how I pronounce it. Yeah, part of my French, but it's how I pronounce it. Potato, potato, tomato, tomato, Javinci, Givenchy, for Kai pronounce. Potato, potato, tomato, tomato, Javinci, Givenchy, for Kai pronounce.
All right, so in a situation like this, the very first thing I want to talk about today is the rhythmic element and the component that ad-libs add to it. You hear that when we did not have the ad-libs, it's like the hook just lacked movement, the character, the life, the way I was coming in. And that's why ad-libs are so important to me, right? Because I believe when people are first listening to your music, right, there's a difference between hearing something and listening to something, right? Okay? You got to understand the difference between that. People don't listen to a song in the beginning. When they play a song, they hear it, right? So they kind of don't really pay attention to the lyrics or any of the surface level stuff. They just want to feel something, right? You know, down the line, if the song has replay value, then they will listen to it. Listening is when you get to the intricate parts of it. Oh, you did a little, thing right here, a little echo, a little drop right here. Oh, I just heard that. But hearing is surface level, right? The initial connection that people try to make to the music. So hearing something is very important. And that's what ad-libs do for the listener. They help them hear things. We got to understand that nowadays in this generation that we're living in, we don't have that much time to capture the listener's attention or to develop the connection, which is very important. There's a quote that just stuck out to me. Once a famous person from back in the day, he said that poor people can afford what rich people once couldn't afford. So what do you mean by that? You got to think about it. At one point in time, if you wanted to be entertained, or even at one point in time, if you wanted to listen to like live music, you had to be like a king. You literally had to be a king to have a jester to entertain you, to make you feel something. But nowadays, right, everybody has access to a phone. At one point in time, not everybody had access to a phone, right? So things like, TikTok and YouTube have really shortened our attention span, right? But that's actually a good thing though, because that's just the product of human nature. And that's why ad-libs are important, right? Because over time, you being a human being, you're making constant progression. Ad-libs are that too in a song. They tell you about progress, like you can hear that the hook is developing with the ad-libs versus where I didn't have the ad-libs. It's just like the hook was static, And think about yourself as a person. I mean, when you came into this world, you was just a baby, but slowly you grew over time into be a grown-up, an adult, and you're gonna keep growing. Same thing that happens with a song, as a song, that lead vocal first starts to come into that song, you listening to it, or let's say it's the first time the track playing, you're hearing it, right? But you're still waiting for some development. You're waiting for climax, right? And that's what the ad-libs do. They get you hyped, they get you lit, they get you feeling some type of way, right? So ad-libs are very critical for the like the rhythmic element. Like now once the ad-libs is in there, you feel like a brand new flow and everything like that, right? So let's look at a little bit of the processing that I did today. I don't want to talk too much about that. This is not about that, right? And the reason why the ad-libs are so important too is because they're giving variation. Let's look at it, left hand side and right hand side. Let's look at the EQ. I just did a slightly different amount of EQ on each side, right? I had a little bump right here, but this one was sharper and the other one was broader and the other one is kind of like darker, right? So I'm just giving a little bit of contrast to the listener. That's what ad-libs do, you know? It's kind of giving some waviness, you know? It's just simulating real life, right? Let's think about something. When people are listening to music, it's kind of like taking a bite, trying to get a sample, like a free sample of your song, right? So let's think about it. Ad-libs are like little breadcrumbs, and the song is like a loaf of bread. So which one do you think is easier to eat in one bite, a breadcrumb or a whole loaf of bread? Exactly. So that's why ad-libs are important, because they're like that little breadcrumb for the listener to get a little taste, to give them some excitement, right? So they can consume it the right way. And now let's go ahead and listen to, you know, a little bit deeper into the song, what it sounds like with and without the ad-libs. And let's talk about another move that I made.
When I was broke, niggas ain't wanna murder me. Beat up the pot in the pan with no mercy. She got that wet, what I see, why they thirsty. My name is Nixon, so I need that VVS water. Gave VVS. Potato, tomato, Javinci, for Kai pronounce. Potato, tomato, Javinci, for Kai pronounce. I'm staying in silence, no need to announce it. I pay what I weigh in the streets with them ounce. Yeah, part of my French, but it's how I pronounce it. Yeah, part of my French, but it's how I pronounce it. Potato, tomato.
So pay attention to, like, look at my sends, how they're all kind of pan wobbly, right? That's letting the listener come into the song, right? It's not, everything is just not strictly, you know, boundaries, right? When you kind of like make these little spaces inside the song, you're inviting the listener to come into the song, right? And that's the thing about the ad-libs too, you know? I like to use the ad-libs where there's like, you know, maybe a little bit of space at the end of the bar, or just wherever there's space is at to kind of fill up the song, right? So the song keeps its rhythm, it keeps its flow. That's why ad-libs are important, because they actually help give the listener direction to let them know, hey, this is the hook right here. Oh, we going hard on the hook. Yeah, we swagging on that little hook. But when the verse come in, look at how there's not that much ad-libs as there was on the hook. So I'm also using the ad-libs to tell the listener, yo, this is our hook right here. Right? This is our verse right here. I want you to pay attention to the verse. So that's how you also, you know, as an engineer, you get the listener in a situation like that. So sometimes, you know, as an engineer, maybe the song doesn't need ad-libs. Maybe there isn't no space, or maybe it already sounds good. You know, there's nothing that can ruin a song like forced ad-libs. So don't ever force it, right? But even as an engineer, you should never try to like tell the artist, oh, you know, what ad-libs to do or anything like that. What I try to do is I tell the artist, yeah, go ahead, do all the ad-libs you want to do. And then when we come back to, you know, listening to it, we will pick over like which ones we want to do. I don't say all that. I just say, go ahead, do all the ad-libs you want to do, have fun. That's what I'm telling them, because ad-libs is all about having fun. If the listener hears the artist is having fun, that's gonna let their brain know, like, hey, it's gonna release some of that dopamine that, hey, you should be having fun too. Woo, let's go. You feel me? That's the time where you can, you know, show the listener, you know, this is the feeling for the song. The ad-libs are telling a story, and the lead vocal is telling a story too, you know? So usually with the ad-libs, I would tell you to try to spice it up. You know, sometimes as a rapper, what you could do is like, you could be in the studio and you in the studio with a couple other people, right? And you could just listen to like what them people were saying, like, or whatever they're naturally doing, like the natural vibe of the room, and put that into the music. If they just say, oh, damn, why you acting like that? The rapper can go in there and be like, damn, why you acting like that? You feel me? And everybody in the room is gonna be like, whoa, because the ad-libs, like, that's reflecting the feeling in the room, right? Ad-libs is all about catching that feeling, you heard me? That feeling at that very minute, right? But, you know, you want to always make sure that you as an engineer, you don't ever try to boss around the artist. If you ever make a suggestion for an ad-lib or anything like that, I always let the artist know, hey, you know, it's your song, fam. You could do whatever you want. It's your song. I always let the listener know that. I always let the artist know that, because that's the most important. At the end of the day, this is not our song. You know, an engineer, you're here to serve the customer. You're here to serve the client. So that's what you need to be focused on. Don't ever try to say, oh, well, we have to do this because this is going to sound right. You know, especially if it's somebody who don't really know you like that, right? You got to gauge how comfortable you are with the client to give them suggestions, right? And that's why, you know, ad libs are very important in regards to that, because if you kind of get the artist in a bad mood, they're not going to give you good ad libs. But if you can get them in a good mood and be like, oh, I can't wait till you do them ad libs. I can't wait till I mix this. How much you want to bet they're going to give you some amazing ad libs that are going to turn up the song, right? That are probably going to make the song even better. I had a really good lead vocal here, but then when I put in the ad libs, that's when I just started, woo, and with the ad libs too, you know, what you can do, why they're important is because you can make the song sound very familiar. Like, pay attention right here. I kind of did like Migos ad libs, right? I did Migos ad libs, and this song is actually released with a video and everything. But nobody has ever said, oh, Nixon, why you trying to be like the Migos? Oh, Nixon, that sounds like the Meek. Nobody said that to me because I put my own swag on it, right? So that's the thing about it too. As an artist, you could take some ad-libs from some other artists, but put your own swag on it, put your own character on it, right? And that's why ad-libs are important, because it's the actual character of the song. So let's keep listening.
Pot in the pen with no mercy. She got that wet what I see why they.
Let's listen to it without the ad-libs and listen to how, like, especially the drop, we didn't have that momentum, right? And that's why, you know, coming back to how the ad-libs guides the listener into the song, right? They let them know it's momentum, something's building up, the drop coming, right? Just listen to it without ad-libs and we'll play it with ad-libs.
Pot in the pen with no mercy. She got that wet what I see why they thirsty. My name is Nixon, so I need that VVS water. Gave VVS. Potato, potato, tomato, tomato, Javinci, for Kai pronounce. Potato, potato, tomato, tomato, Javinci, for Kai pronounce. I'm staying in silence, no need to announce it. I pay what I weigh and increase with them ounce. Just part of my French, but it's how I pronounce it. Just part of my French, but it's how I pronounce. Potato, potato.
See, now that sounded like a missed opportunity right there. Let's play it with the ad-libs and listen to how, in the context of the song, in the sequence, it gives the listener something to look forward to. That's what ad-libs are, right? They not only give you replay value, but it gives the listener something to look forward to, something to be like, hey, I'm gonna put that moment on TikTok. Give them their TikTok moment. That's what they want. The listener wants to come into the song. Listen to how the ad-libs invites you into the song, how that drop just lets you, you feel me?
Cause ain't wanna murder me. Beat up the pot in the pen with no mercy. She got that wet what I see why they thirsty. My name is Nixon, so I need that VVS water. Gave VVS. Potato, potato, tomato, tomato, Javinci, for Kai pronounce. Potato, potato, tomato, tomato, Javinci, for Kai pronounce. I'm staying in silence, no need to announce it. I pay what I weigh and increase with them ounce. Just part of my French, but it's how I pronounce it. Just part of my French, but it's how I pronounce. Potato, potato, tomato.
Like, come on, you cannot tell me that it didn't make a difference. Like, if you know that really made a difference just because it just let you come into the song. Now you can tell for sure that made a difference. Just the way it made you feel. It made you feel like, oh, something's happening. We going up. We going up. We going up. Boop. And then give them that drop. So ad-libs are very important. You know, they're a part of the signature of an artist. I mean, last thing I wanted to show, even though the plugins don't matter, is the fresh air, right? I'm giving them two types of brightness. In their ears, right? And you got to understand that when I've got it on the insert, it's actually affecting my reverb and my delays too. So like the reverb and the delays, they're giving new senses of space, new senses of dimension and the high ends, right? So it's just making the listener feel very good. So that's why I had the fresh air going in there strategically, you know, on the insert before they hit the delays. Cause now it's like, it's just adding this crystal clearness that's just, you know, giving the listener a way of coming into the house. You know, I'm letting them know, hey, this fresh air and this sparkly little reverb, that's the roof. I got a house. Come on, come into the song. The song is a house. You feel me? So, you know, that's why ad-libs are so important nowadays. And last thing I want to talk about is the ad-libs can become a signature, a trademark of yours. You know, once you figure out what your ad-lib is, you know, people will passively help them remember like who you are. It's helping build their identity and their image of you as an artist. Let's think of Travis Scott. It's lit. You feel me? Let's think of DJ Khaled. We the best. We the best. It's way easier for somebody to remember something like that, we the best, right? And feel like it belongs to them versus like a whole song. Of course, they gonna like song music too, but think about it. It's easier to eat a breadcrumb in one bite than to eat a whole loaf of bread all at once. The ad-libs, they're like the frosting on top of the cake. The song is the cake, right? But the ad-libs are the frosting. The lead vocal, more like the lead vocal is the cake, but the ad-libs is the frosting. Of course, you could eat a cake with no frosting on it. You could have a song with no ad-libs, but which one you think is gonna be sweeter for the person who's listening to the music, right? Exactly. And like with the ad-lib, we the best, you know? There's people who, like, for example, in Florida, they don't even speak no English, man. But when they hear we the best, they feel like that belongs to them, right? So that's the thing about ad-libs and why they're so important. They break boundaries. They literally break boundaries. Literally, people who do not know you or maybe even speak the same language as you, they can feel a little bit more connected because they can connect way more to an expression rather than words, right? Words are a way, you know, kind of like an attempt to explain these like supernatural things of sadness and feel, you know, happiness. When you say, woo, ah, ain't nobody needs to know what language you're speaking. They just know you happy. So that's why ad-libs are important. They help, you know, break the boundaries of music, right? Because music is just a recording of how you feel. But the ad-libs, they just make it way easier. It make it way easier for a listener to just get into the groove with you, just get into your perspective. And that's what making music is about. So that's my little, you know, video here for today. I'm gonna actually be making a whole entire series about ad-libs. That's how important ad-libs are. You know, I went through YouTube and I, you know, try to see some other videos as well, you know, as I was learning before. But I'm just looking at the videos and there's no real good videos talking about ad-libs, but ad-libs will literally make or break a song in our modern generation. And that's why I'm launching a whole series based off of ad-libs. I'm gonna do it and I'm gonna keep providing value. Today was not necessarily about the mixing. Today was more about, you know, why they're important, the feeling behind it, the human psychology behind it, you know, how, you know, ad-libs can, you know, change the feeling. You know, when you heard me take the ad-libs, pull them in and out, you heard how it made you feel different. You know, when the ad-libs were there, it made you feel like you had something to look forward to. It made you feel like, yeah, I wanna hear the rest of the song, right? And in the TikTok generation, that's very important, you know, and that's what we talked about today is, you know, you gotta give the listener a reward for listening to your whole song because really they can go anywhere else for that entertainment. So I just wanna say thanks a lot for being a great part of my YouTube family. We're gonna keep ripping it out here for